I have a foster brother. I love him dearly. I'm gonna tell you how good of a person he is. When me and my wife were living in Georgia, some stuff had happened. We end up, needing a place to stay. He has 12 kids in a big ass house. He was married, whatever. He said, "Come stay with me, bro. You and your wife." You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
We wouldn't take rent, nothing. A few years ago, he told me he always thought he was a girl, and now he's a trans
Yeah.
person. I don't know if he did the snip or whatever. You know, it was traumatic for me, like to for him to like this is my superhero. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Army vet. You know, and like could kick your ass, knew how to shoot guns, former police officer, like 3 degrees, like one of the most focused people I've ever met. One day just died, as far as I'm concerned, in my mind at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think he knows how I feel about the whole thing. But one thing I know and I still call him I'm still there. You know what I mean? Just to be
Yeah.
honest, like I'll forever see him as my brother. I'm trying to reconcile the whole thing. But one thing I know about her, her
Yeah.
is she don't won't touch any children.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was when that happened. He was a freaking adult. Leave the kids out of it, man.
Yes. Yes. I
Leave the kids out of it. I'm sorry. I'm passionate about this.
no, I am too. And you said two things that really struck me. Like one, the the way like your situation with your hero, like there needs to be some common sense understanding compassion that when you change genders, like someone changes genders, you gotta be understanding that that's going to be hard for people, especially people that have known you for years, that have known
Yeah.
you close for years. You can't and it's like, was it Bill Burr had the joke, but it's true. If if I shave my head and just walk into a building tomorrow, everyone's going to be like, whoa, you shaved your head. But if I like walk into the building tomorrow in a dress, they're not supposed to say anything. Like they're not supposed to like have to try to process. And it's to me, it's kind of like there's got to be some time and some understanding and compassion that not everybody's going to not everybody's going to be on board with it. Not everybody's going to be, and it's not necessarily makes them any bad. It doesn't make them a bad person,
Right.
but there's got to be some. You can't like I really have a hard time with this whole forcing pronouns on people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think, I
Yeah.
mean, I'll call you the way what you want to be called, but that's me being respectful. But if I call you a he and you want to be called a she, I'm not it's not I'm not a bigot for calling you a he in the first place, especially
Right.
if you present a certain way. If I see
Right.
the Adam's apple, I'm kind of
Hey, the voice sounds like mine. It's like it's
yeah,
hard. Like I can't. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I get it.
And the other side too is it's like I feel like there's there and this I saw this a lot with folks kind of on the right, but I think this is in general where we're adding too many letters to the alphabet community,
I'm sorry.
and we're trying. No, we are because and like
Yeah, you're right.
we're trying to lump in gay, lesbian with trans, bi, um, likes to fuck toasters. That all these people into one thing, and it's different. Like I'll never forget. There was a teacher that came out as gay. He was an elementary school teacher, and parents were upset. And I know there were parents that went to our church that were super upset that this male teacher came out as gay, and and I remember just thinking like, well, like we got to keep him away from my son. He's
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
but it's like he's not he's not also a pedophile, you know?
But here's my thing with that, right?
Yeah.
You know, and this goes back to my mom's friend. He wasn't a pedophile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like it's one of those things. It's we have to bring back shame. We're getting away from shame. Like it used to be shameful to have a baby out of wedlock. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it should be shameful to not be married in your freaking 30s.
Yeah.
It used to be shameful to not get good grades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
used to be shameful to not be a whore. You know what I mean? It used to be shameful to not cheat on your wife. I mean, it used to be shameful to cheat on your wife. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
You get my,
shameful to not cheat anyway.
yeah, yeah. I might have flubbed a few, but my point is, like, we have to bring back shame, bro. Like, and yeah,
Yeah, like there's a sense of not self respect too. Like I subscribe. I don't know if you've heard of Bridget Fetisi. She does a podcast, and she's a writer. She's a writer. She used to write for Playboy. She's been on Joe Rogan. She's been on a lot. She's a kind of a comedian, but she does a podcast called Dumpster Fire, and she does a lot of other stuff too. And she recently, like when she was in her 20s, she felt like she thought it was, and she actually does a great piece on regretting her sexual liberalism. I got to look it up. I'm butchering her whole thing. But
yeah,
she talks about how when she was young, she was taught, like, in her head, it was feminism, it was freedom, it was pro woman to be sexually promiscuous. Like that was a freedom. And she would go out, and she would sleep with so many guys and multiple guys, and she'd have to be very promiscuous. And now she's just recently had a daughter, and she's now seeing her growing up in such a different context as a mom now, and she's regretting the choices she made, because she realized she feels like she got duped, like that whole
yeah,
put.
she did.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying she did.
Yeah, like the whole push, like it was being packaged as being liberal and being a free woman, and being this and that, and yet in reality, she was being a whore, and she regrets it. But
And they would say to you, well, the problem is that the word whore exists. You
yeah,
know, because
shame on you
what?
for labeling. Yeah,
Yeah, like yeah, you're labeling me. I should be able to. Here's the reality of the situation. We live in a place when you have taboos, certain, and they influence a society in a certain way that either allows it to be more productive or less productive. You know,
yeah,
so if you're out being a whore, that means you're not being a mom. That means you're not being a supportive wife. That means you're being messy. That
hmm
means you're out probably influencing men who are in stable homes to not be so stable. You know what I mean? Just for the thrill of it.
and
Like
your focus. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, no, I was just gonna say like women. I think they have this immense power that they because they live in a man's world, that their sexuality for the most part really is like nature's trump card.
Yeah,
And unfortunately now, instead of using that power for good, a lot of them use it for evil, and it has so many, just it ripples through so many things.
yeah, and it's Catch new episodes of Mental Health Mondays every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Start your week off with a smile and some inspiration.